there's a challenge I want to put to you, David, which for those of us who, were in favour of Britain leaving the EU, wish us to leave the ECHR, hyper sceptical about the United Nations, probably think it should be abolished. What sort
Cheers, absolutely.
What sort of international order or framework do you imagine? I mean, let me take a hypothetical situation. I don't know. There's some, unbelievable. Well, we could take Russia, Ukraine. There's some unbelievable crisis, some part in the continent. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to have to flee, certain death. Some sort of Holocaust is going on. Presumably, you need countries to work together, sign an agreement which can somehow be enforced, or something much more prosaic. We agree with the French that they'll take our apples and we'll take their wine. How are disputes between these independent sovereign nations then adjudicated if we've decided that the EU, the ECHR, the WTO, and everything else all need to be scrapped?
As they used to be, Mark. If you remember, it is Palmerston who says that we have no eternal friends and no eternal enemies. We have perpetual interests. The trouble is, as part of this entire absurdist revolution that we've been talking about, we've above all lost sight of a thing called the national interest. We have politicians, particularly on the left, who think that to talk of the national interest is effectively to swear in public. That it is simply wrong. We've got to get back to that. I'll give you the example. It is by one of the proponents of good sense and one of the most intelligent politicians of the last 150 years. It's Ted Roosevelt. It's Theodore Roosevelt, the good Roosevelt, rather than the rather debatable Roosevelt of the 1930s. And he has this wonderful phrase: talk softly and carry a big stick. We at the moment look at Starmer's behaviour, look at that preposterous collection of leaders sitting like scolded children in front of the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. None of them could actually fight a war under any circumstances whatever. The necessary predicate of a nation state, it's got the nation state, and we've again completely forgotten this, and the Cameron government is just as responsible. The two fundamental duties of the state are to maintain internal order and justice and foreign defence. And what the Cameron government did was deliberately to cut back on both justice at home, which is why our prisons, our courts, our police force are in the catastrophic mess that they are, and to cut back on defence. It is utterly, they're following in the footsteps of Blair, but nevertheless it is utterly unforgivable. The nation state demands proper defence. But it also demands something else, Mark. You can see the nonsense of our attitude to the Ukraine. What is going on in the Ukraine? Whatever the rights and the wrongs be between the Ukraine and the ex-Soviet state, the current Russia, what's going on in the Ukraine is a war to create a nation. It is a form of ethnogenesis. That's to say, it's a war over frontiers, inches of territory, fought over at the cost of tens of thousands of lives, of horror, of destruction, not seen in Europe, thank God, since the Second World War. It's about blood and soil nationalism. It's toxic masculinity. It is the rejoicing in absolute violence. Mm-hmm. That's what we're being told in Western Europe are Western European values. But of course, our Western European values are completely the opposite. Darling, we don't believe in violence. We believe in settling things by rules. It is against the rules to invade another country. You are very naughty. We are going to take you to the internet. Can you imagine? But there are politicians like the ridiculous Sir Chris Bryant, he of the heraldic underpants, talking about arraigning Putin before the International Criminal Court. This is genuinely deranged. This is a politics of total derangement. The only people that the International Court has ever been able to get its hands on are fallen tyrants from petty states. And to set these notions up as gods without force.
I mean, actually, rather than following Teddy Roosevelt's dictum,
we've done the opposite.
Speak softly and carry a big stick. We're screaming and carrying a twig, basically.
We're carrying a bent twig. I mean, and this is the complete absurdity of the position that we're in now. But you see, it's also, isn't it, when you think about it, Mark, all of this is part of a package. Keir Starmer believes that everything is done by rules. He's got no sense of morality. He's got no sense of national interest. He's got no sense of economics. He's got no sense of proper priorities in government. It's just the rules. I mean, it extends from the very big, like these questions of policy, to the very, very small, to the business of the Lord Alley equipping him and his wife, even stranger, with clothes. Now, do you remember how Starmer absolutely fought in a way which he's never done on big issues of policy, not to concede that he was wrong, because I have followed the rules. And this is when everybody says to me, oh, this man was a QC, he must be incredibly intelligent. He's a QC in a very peculiar area of law. That's to say, human rights law and whatever, where he's never pleaded before a jury, ever. What you're doing is you are simply conjuring with words. These words and the judicial constructions that have been put on the European Convention. And all you're doing is you're playing word games. And the problem is we've replaced genuine international policy, which inevitably depends on force.
Yeah.
Again, we've forgotten this too. The state finally depends on force. If you've got a properly run state, such as we used to be, in which there's a high degree of social cohesion, there are many shared objectives, and we all, even however bitterly we disagree about politics, we agree that it should be a politics which is conducted by debate and not by street violence. Once all those things break down, finally the only refuge is you've got a body strong enough to enforce order. But we've destroyed the police. The police themselves have become a highly partisan force. DEI, again, has made absolutely sure of this. And their notion of what law they're enforcing has been fundamentally undercut. In other words, we've seen the army as a parody. I mean, we cannot actually mount a serious division abroad.
If you are watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be informed of all future broadcasts. And if you enjoyed the broadcast, please give it a thumbs up and a like, and perhaps leave a comment below.